What's good, everybody? We got more disturbing videos, creepy mystery, TikToks coming straight at you. For context, don't believe everything you see or hear on this video is strictly for entertainment purposes only. With that being said, hit that like and subscribe button and let's dive in. Lord, we got a trapped demon. The Imperial Treasury of Vienna attested that this was a real demon which had been trapped in glass during an exorcism in the 17th century Germany. That is actually kind of fascinating. It makes me wonder, what type of alchemy technique did they use to trap these demons? I said we can't get rid of them, but we might be able to trap one. Let's see what they say.
The Imperial Treasury of Vienna attests that this is a real demon that has been trapped in glass since an exorcism that occurred in the 17th century. It is regarded as one of the few true evidences of a successful exorcism. It is described as a demon trapped in glass that was driven out during a possession and banished to this glass, and it is widely believed that the devil could take possession of a human body if released.
Whatever you do, you better not open it, bucko.
What if the English language wasn't made to help you communicate, but to control you? Welcome to the Spell of English, the most dangerous operating system on Earth. This is part 2 of the Power of Words project, where we decode the world's most dangerous spells. And today we're going to pull back the curtain on English, the official language of empires, courts, and colonizers. And I'm about to show you how this tongue was tuned for domination, and how to flip the script. So number 1, English. English comes from Anglish, the language of the Angles, which is a Germanic tribe. It was spread through empire, colonization, and commerce. So this is not the natural language of the spirit. Instead is the engineered tongue for control. Why is that way? Because English is a Frankenstein language, mixed with Latin, law, Germanic, war, and French, elitism. And it's filled with double meanings, legalese, and reversals to trick the subconscious. The entire system was built to confuse, contract, and consent without realizing it. So the counter spells for this is speak slowly, speak with awareness, speak consciously, reclaim your tone, and pause. You know, silence is a sacred spell as well. Number 2, contracts and consent words. So English is a language of contract law. And this is why you sign agreements and submit forms, which are legal bindings written in spell form. Why it's this way? Because every time you say I understand, it means you're standing under authority. When you apply, you're begging for permission. And these are consent words built in everyday speech. Some counterspells for this is never say I understand. You can say I overstand or I understand. Replace apply with declare or step into. And practice saying I do not consent, especially in energetic moments. Number 3, curses hidden in common words. The architects of this language were aware of phonetic inversion magic, and they embedded opposing frequencies in simple words. Why is that way? Well, live backwards is evil. God equals dog reversed. Blessed equals be less. And it comes from Bledsian, which means marked with blood. And spell equals to enchant and bind by utterance, which is a spoken word, statement, or sound. So these are some counter spells. Instead of saying blessed, you can say empowered or held in source. You can use creator instead of God if you want to break the dogma. And just increase your vocabulary, because every word you say, it either binds or frees you. So they didn't teach you English to express yourself, rather to suppress yourself. But now you know the code, and now you see the glyphs. And now you speak as a creator, not a consumer of spells.
Interesting, because if you think about it, spell. Another one is, some people say good morning, including myself. I was saying it for a while, but if you think it morning, what are we mourning? You know, so that's why I see a lot of people that say grand rising. Overstand, that's a good one. Instead of I understand, I overstand. In the good book, it said life and death is at the power of the tongue. So if you got any more, drop it in the comments below. I love to hear them.
There is hidden knowledge about energy manipulation that only the chosen few of the 33rd degree from the most secret societies have mastered. Manly P. Hall revealed these forbidden techniques in his lecture during the 1973 Scottish Rite ceremony, where he was recognized as a 33-degree Mason 47 years after writing The Secret Teachings of All Ages. The air you breathe is not empty space. It is the densest and most complex magnetic field known, where each planet emits its unique frequency through this invisible matrix. Egyptian priests measured these fields millennia ago for healing. Pythagoras recorded how temple geometric solids, cubes, octahedrons, dodecahedrons, emitted specific therapeutic frequencies.
I've heard of octahedrons before, but dodecahedron? That's a new one. Let's type it in. Dodecahedron. I like the name. Man, I just got a dodecahedron. 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 Let's see what it is, y'all. It is a 3-dimensional geometric shape with 12 faces. Oh, it kind of looks like the what's it called? The D&D Dungeons and Dragon dice, you know? A dodecahedron. And the most common form is a regular dodecahedron with one of 5 platonic sides with 12 identical regular pentagonal faces. A pentagon. Interesting. 12 identical pentagon faces, 30 edges, and 20 vertices. It is a common convex polyhedron and also known for its appearance in the Roman artifacts, though its purpose remains in a mystery. Well, the 12 identical pentagonal faces contributing factor to what this may have been. We all know pentagons ain't used for the greatest things. All right, let's get back to it.
Cubes, octahedrons, dodecahedrons emitted specific therapeutic frequencies. Franz Mesmer demonstrated that people forming circles around magnetized water in his tank created functional human batteries. Walter John Kilner photographed the etheric field extending 3 to 5 feet from the physical body, up to 1.5 meters of invisible protection. Your moral conduct, there is hidden knowledge.
Interesting. A force field? I kind of want more. This was the 33-degree hidden knowledge about energy manipulation. Let's see if we can find part 2.
There is hidden knowledge about energy manipulation. There is hidden knowledge about energy manipulation that only the chosen few of the 33rd degree from the most secret societies have mastered. Manly P. Hall revealed these forbidden techniques in his lecture during the 1973 Scottish Rite ceremony, where he was recognized as a 33-degree Mason 47 years after writing The Secret Teachings of All Ages. The air you breathe is not empty space. It is the densest and most complex magnetic field known, where each planet emits its unique frequency through this invisible matrix. Egyptian priests measured these fields millennia ago for healing. Pythagoras recorded how temple geometric solids, cubes, octahedrons, dodecahedrons, emitted specific therapeutic frequencies. Franz Mesmer demonstrated that people forming circles around magnetized water in his tank created functional human batteries. Walter John Kilner photographed the etheric field extending 3 to 5 feet from the physical body, up to 1.5 meters of invisible protection. Your moral conduct is not religious decree. Every lie, every selfish act, every emotional outburst tears verifiable holes in this magnetic shield. What you call evil is beneficial energy failing to manifest properly. Alcohol, narcotics, and destructive emotions pierce your natural magnetic protection. 17th century Rosicrucians knew personal field integrity determines health, longevity, and the evolution of consciousness.
There's a lot more to this video. I'm probably going to go live again soon, and we'll dive into this one specifically together as a collective. Interesting. This contraption always fascinated me because it definitely looked like it was done by some type of ancient machinery. But what was it made for? Or what were they trying to keep inside?
Beneath the bustling streets of Cusco, Peru, hidden in plain sight under the colonial grandeur of the Santo Domingo convent, lies one of the most mysterious and controversial ancient structures in the Americas, Coricancha, the Golden Enclosure. Officially hailed as the most sacred temple of the Inca Empire, dedicated to the sun god Inti, Coricancha's massive stone foundations whisper of a far older story, one that mainstream archaeology struggles to explain. While the Spanish conquerors stripped its walls of gold and built their churches atop its ruins, they could not destroy the impeccable stonework at its core. Granite blocks, polished to a metallic sheen, are joined so tightly that not even a razor blade can pass between them. These aren't the crude remnants of a Bronze Age culture. They're the fingerprints of unknown builders possessing advanced technology.
100%.
Buddy, what if I told you there are fully functional biodomes on the ocean floor where entire human societies are being raised?
Hold on, did he start with Buddy? That is hilarious. It's almost like whatever he's about to say, he's about to spit some truth, because he's like, look here, buddy. Let me hear that one more time.
Buddy, what if I told you there are fully functional biodomes on the ocean floor where entire human societies are being raised without any knowledge of the outside world? This isn't sci-fi. It's a classified government experiment that's been running for decades. These domes were set up by a coalition of deep state agencies and private entities looking to create a completely controlled environment, right? No external influences, no history, no outside interference. The people inside are born into a fabricated reality where everything from their culture to their technology is tightly regulated. They have artificial skies, controlled weather, okay, and a fake history designed to keep them in line. Look, I mean, it's dark, okay, because Lord knows what they're really doing with a lot of these folks. I mean, you could only imagine, by this point, there are hundreds of these separate biodomes with all of these people just living in a completely derivative state of reality. Look, for the sake of my well-being, I'm going to go ahead and say this is a joke for entertainment only, right? Buddy, what if I told you there are fully
That would be a crazy theory, but then again, what is it? Like only 3, 4, 5% is only discovered of our oceans? There's no telling what's out there deep in the dark waters 9, if you will.
Here's my theory on petrified giants. Now, do I think they're 100% petrified? No. I think that they're in a dormant stage. I think if they're given enough time, they can regenerate. Because whatever happened to them most probably happened fast, because that was the only way to stop them. If giants were real the way the Bible says, the way the Dead Sea Scrolls says, and other literature says, all these rock salt mines and all these caves that look like flesh and tissue could be the inside of giants. And I know a lot of this is hard to fathom, but how possible could all this be? And do you believe this could be real? Here's my theory.
That would be absolutely crazy. You know, like the movie Trolls, they actually break free from the rubble and start walking? I don't know. That is definitely interesting to think about. Like giants hidden inside these mountains and walls on some Attack on Titan type stuff. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. All right, gang, we have a meteor shower. I've heard a couple crazy theories about meteor showers. Some people say they're actual fireworks that we created. Some people say they're fallen angels. You know, it's crazy to think about. I just want the truth. I know some of you in the crowd are like, you can't handle the truth. Do you know what they say beyond that, after that quote? I believe it says we want the truth. You can't handle the truth. There are men guarding these walls with, what walls is he exactly referring to? That's in the movie. I didn't make that up. That's in the movie, y'all.
This massive animatronic breathes, and there's a video of it breathing at the end if you just want to go skip and see that. It's 30 feet long or 10 meters long, and don't get me wrong, it's absolutely gorgeous. However, I would be terrified to go near this thing. Once again, my account is about megalophobia and creepy things that I find creepy. But yeah, this thing is absolutely massive. Look at it compared to those two people up there. Also, damn girl, for free? It's an installation that's in London this month, and I think it's going to be there next month too. Maybe I'll actually go look at it because I am going to London next month. But it's in front of Somerset House, which is like an art kind of gallery place. But the fact that it breathes creeps me out so bad. Like, I'm just waiting for it to like break that glass and like escape and just like pummel people. Like, I'm going to be ready to fight. It's by an artist called Ty Shawnee, and it's called The Spell or The Dream. And she's sleeping, and I'm just waiting for her to wake up and wreak havoc. Watch this video of her breathing and let me know how you're feeling, and would you go near this thing? This massive animatronic.
That is pretty creepy, and if you look at the building it's behind too, I wonder what building that is. Definitely giving me old world vibes. The secret aquarium for the elites. Well, we already know what's on the menu at that party.
The elite are eating mermaids, and I know what they taste like. You've probably seen the viral mermaid eating videos, but have you seen mine? Because mine's the original one. For some reason, it's not on the For You page, but I did get another email from someone that went to the party. They actually paid to go to the party, and they told me what they taste like. Let's read that email, shall we? We're going to call him Jonah because I think that's funny. As in Jonah and the whale, and all of that. Jonah said, I had spent my life chasing the rare, the forbidden, the experiences that others whispered about but never dared to pursue. I had sipped snake-infused whiskey in Japan, dined on endangered delicacies in hidden European supper clubs, and even paid an absurd amount to eat a meal cooked on lava in Iceland. When he heard about the mermaid parties, he was down to go, and he said that he paid $50,000 for his ticket. He wasn't told about the location until the day of the party, that a black limo came and picked him up, took him to the party. He said the host was in a white suit wearing a mask, like a masquerade mask, and said, welcome, tonight you will partake in a dish once served for the kings of lost civilizations, a delicacy that vanished from history until now. Now here's what he said it looked like. Their torsos were eerily human, slender arms, delicate collarbones, pale faces, frozen in serene stillness. But from the waist down, their bodies shimmered with blue-green scales ending in powerful tails. Below their ribs had been with precision revealing rich marbled meat beneath. A server placed a dish in front of Jonas, thinly sliced filet, lightly seared, resting in a golden broth infused with herbs he didn't recognize. The aroma was intoxicating, sweet, briny, complex. The flavor was exquisite. It was unlike anything he had ever known, sweet like scallops, rich like Wagyu beef, with a depth of umami that seemed to awaken something deep in his senses. It was as if he were tasting the ocean itself, not just its bounty, but its soul. That's his words, not mine. He then said, a warmth spread through my body, my heartbeat slowed, my breath deepened. Around me, the other guests had closed their eyes, their faces soft with pleasure. A sound, and then he describes it as no, not a sound, but a feeling, a low, resonant hum, a vibration in my bones, in my blood. That his mind was filled with visions of deep blue waters, endless and calm, filled with whispers, not words, but emotions, memories, as if the sea itself had opened to him, revealing its secrets. He felt it, the pull, the connection. They were all enjoying it. The host raised a glass and said, to those who dine beyond the edge of the world, said 10 out of 10 would recommend, and he would do it again. The elite are eating mermaids, and I know what they taste like.
Would you try a slice of barbecued mermaid or siren?
Mermaids? Mermaids over here. We've got the person on the trumpet, which you always see. They were allegedly going around on these ships, ploy as well too. Maybe they were just in the air. Basic weather vane harness. Check this. So this is inside the building. Now, if lightning, let's just make this real simple. If lightning was traveling from here down into this, while this thing spins, that would be energy. Then this thing spins. Then there's an orb. That orb could contain different types of materials, like mercury. But what's interesting is this rod is going into the house, into the wood, into the rest of the home.
There's a discovery in Egypt that's going to rewrite history, and it's not in Giza. It's in this little oasis. There's a discovery in Egypt that's going to rewrite history, and it's not in Giza. It's in this little oasis called Hawara. And as far as we know, it's the biggest thing that they ever built. It was uncovered in the 1800s by this guy here, but not entirely. Buried in the sand was ruins from an ancient Roman settlement. When he dug deeper, he found what he thought was the foundations of the ancient lost labyrinth of Egypt. But he actually found the roof, and it's now been confirmed that it's real. There used to be a big old temple at the site. Over thousands of years, it was disassembled and used as a quarry. But in 2008, an expedition was led to scan the site with ground-penetrating radar, and what they found were the remnants of the labyrinth. Now, what came back was megalithic architecture. That is similar to what you would see at the Osirian or the Valley Temple on the Giza Plateau. Huge blocks, similar to what the mud brick pyramid is actually hiding underneath it. These were uncovered back in the 1800s. But since then, the construction of the dam in Egypt has raised the water table and is now destroying what's underneath it. What's under this pyramid is nothing short of insane. There's these trapdoor blocks that are absolutely massive. They were never engaged. Then hiding directly under the center of this pyramid is a 110-ton block of red quartzite. That is 200 tons. Then the lid is made of bigger stones, and then an even bigger stone is on top of that, and then there's bigger stones on top of that. I warned you. So with the ancient entrance and the ground scan confirming that there's something under there, the satellite team was brought out. There are chambers and tunnels that go down multiple levels into the earth. This confirms the legends from the ancient Greeks who went to visit. Now, what does this place actually contain? Allegedly, some of the origins of humanity. More walls equals more space. Enough space to tell our origin story. And the latest scan of one of these chambers has showed that there's something in there, and it's metallic. But that one is going to need its own video.
There's a metallic structure? Oh yeah. This is the Millennium Falcon, or some type of UFO hidden in there. That would be my best guess. My dad, PhD in linguistics and 4 decades in the ministry, deciphers the unknown for us.
Can you describe to me what the antediluvian world was and what antediluvian means?
A-N-T-E, diluvian, means the civilization before the flood. You find today there's a lot of discovery. In fact, I wrote a brief book just discussing back in 2005, 2006, on cities under the sea. There were at that time about 100 discoveries of cities, pyramids, streets, ruins under the oceans, under the Black Sea, but under the Atlantic, in the Atlantic, the Pacific, elsewhere, the Indian Ocean. The antediluvian world is actually what marine archaeologists are studying, but they don't believe in the scripturals. So they're raising questions about a place like Antarctica, the Arctic, that have, they might have like a mile high of ice on top of them. Well, it was once water. That suddenly froze. But they're finding that there's evidence of civilization underneath there. Evidence of temperate zone. A temperate zone meaning a more favorable climate at one point.
Okay, yeah.
Now, what's happening is that there's a lot of historians, they're finding that there was a genius in the structure of the pyramids, these vast cities that are under the ocean, all over the world. Now there's hundreds of them that they've discovered. And so what you hear postulated is that, well, aliens did that because man is presumed to be primitive, just arising out of the caveman era, so that he can't be advanced. Well, I beg to differ. The Bible teaches that man was advanced from the very beginning of his existence. He moved towards civilization rapidly as the numbers of people increased. The antediluvian world shows that. That world was destroyed by the Noahic flood. The language of the flood is borne out in the geology of what we find in the continents around the world. The flood, it wasn't just a flood. It was volcanic, it was earthquake, it was massive flooding. It was the fountains of the great deep were broken up, which, by the way, I know of no document in the ancient world that knows that other than the Bible. You'll find these 40,000 miles worth of fountains of water, hot water still coming up from the floor of the ocean.
Okay.
The Bible describes that the fountains of the great deep burst. They broke open. About 40,000 miles of them now that we know of. All of that broke open of a sudden. And civilization, after God closed Noah and his family, and of course the animals in the ark, civilization, once the cataclysm began, civilization was gone in probably about 5 to 10 minutes, if it took that long. For example, right now they're talking about all these massive volcanic, these craters underneath Yellowstone. Yeah, they're afraid they're going to blow. They're going to blow up. But they don't realize they already have. All over the world, there's these massive. Yellowstone is a crater. All over the world, there's hundreds of these, if not thousands. And they were massive volcanoes. They went off. The tsunamis that were formed weren't 100 feet high. They were several thousand feet high. And you see that you can see it in the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. It's a ridge that goes down the base of the Atlantic between the Africa and the Western and the African continents. Mid-Atlantic Ridge is a massive crack that broke open, and the mountains rose. The scriptures actually, literally in Hebrew, it says the mountains rose, the valleys fell. You see it in the scarring, mountains suddenly rising. You see it in the burn marks of friction of the mountains, rock going through rock as the mountains are erected. Now, geologists don't like that because it challenges their evolutionary beliefs and then would force them to come to grips with the God of Scripture. Unbelief has its biases, its prejudices too. It isn't neutral.
Correct.
The point is the antediluvian world shows advanced civilization all over the world buried. For example, off the western coast of Cuba at the 1900 foot level, there's a civilization down there in ruins. All over the world you find that. Well, assuming the water at 6 stone level, how'd they get there? How did the water cover them all? There's only one explanation, and evolution doesn't have it. So all those that are studying, the genius of that world, the pyramids that are underneath the water, underneath Antarctica, if that's true, all over the world, pyramids and cities and ruins. What happened to all those? They were genius up front. Evolution has no answer to that.
Okay, Dad. Can you describe...
I like to do what is called eat the meat and spit out the bones, but this man just served us a 20-ounce T-bone steak. I would love to know what his book is called.
I said to myself, well, how can I make pure colors? And it's really much more difficult than you think, because the problem of it is if the body needs a certain specific frequency, which is a color, you want to be as specific as possible to make that color. So there was one way of doing it, and that is a terribly expensive device. It consists of several mirrors, a hologram, and all that. It's actually what it does is you have a high-intensity light which goes through a slit, and then you dissect that slit Actually, the slit makes a rainbow, and then you dissect the rainbow, and you just pick out the particular colors. And what comes out is pure color. Now, you can. I have a useful amount of light coming out at any color at a pretty good amount of photons. In other words, you can do something with it. Pretty good intensity. So I go up to Los Alamos and I ask this guy who buys all their salvage, and he says, well, I got something which is a monochromator. I said, what's a monochromator? He says, well, that's mono means single color. So you can make single colors. He says, the only problem is this thing is damaged. I said, how much you want for it? He says, $130. I said, come on, you're crazy. The thing is damaged. The mirror is shattered by a laser. They shot lasers through it and busted the mirrors up and so forth. Well, I got a piece of junk. But here my proprietary God or my helper here, he says, buy it, buy it. So my wife says, you're crazy. I said, I'm going to buy it. So I have it at home, and I'm really shocked because it's a mess. It's all taken apart and so forth. So that night I go to bed and I said, I don't know what you pulled this time, but I think it's useless. Next morning I wake up with a total knowledge of the whole science of monochromatry I had in my mind. I put the damn thing together, never seen it before, assembled it all, took the back off. The mirror was only shattered on opposite sides, so I could turn it 90 degrees, or 45 degrees, or 90 degrees, and I had a perfect unit. So now I could make pure colors. And the interesting thing about it is I had bought over the years certain fiber optics, this and that, and light sources and all this stuff, and everything fit. Everything fit. It was all there. It was almost like it took 3 years to accumulate the parts, and then you get the unit, and then in one day you put it all together. So, it sometimes makes you kind of feel good. Something says to me, how does the nervous system actually work? You have one part of the nervous system which you use to will things. You walk and do all these things, but there's a great deal of the nervous system which you have no control over, and it's called the autonomic, in other words, the automatic. You have no control over it. Your heartbeat is controlled, your breathing and so forth. And I said, now who controls that? Well, there are certain controls. For example, a heart, you can take a chicken heart, put it in a saline solution, it keeps on beating. Their organs have a way of acting on their own. Like the last information they receive, they keep on going. Suppose the autonomic nervous system, while it is, the control is in the head. Maybe that head is only a receiver, and the database for our health, or the control of our health, is on an astral level. I said, maybe that's what I'm picking up. I said to myself, well, how can I make pure colors? And
Interesting.
Your breath is the bridge between dimensions. Each inhale connects you to Your breath is the bridge between dimensions. Each inhale connects you to infinite possibilities. Each exhale releases old timelines. But if you're like most people, you've been unconsciously breathing yourself into the same limited reality for years, wondering why nothing ever changes. The universe responds to your breath's electromagnetic signature, not your mental chatter. And here's what's happening in your body right now that you're completely unaware of. Your autonomic nervous system is broadcasting a signal to the quantum field 24/7. That signal is either saying, I'm safe, I'm abundant, I'm whole, or I'm in danger, I'm lacking, I'm broken. And that broadcast, it's happening through your breathing rhythm. Every shallow, anxious breath is literally telling the universe, I don't have enough, while every deep, coherent breath declares, I am whole. But here's what changes everything. Today I'm going to give you the exact breathing sequence that billionaires, mystics, and quantum physicists use to access what I call timeline coherence. You'll learn how to identify which reality frequency you're currently locked into, and then I'll show you the 3-step process to breathing yourself into any timeline you choose, including the one where you already have everything you've ever wanted. Most people are unknowingly breathing themselves into the same limited timeline, day after day, and wondering why nothing in their life ever changes. I want you to imagine something with me for a moment. Picture yourself as a radio, and every breath you take is adjusting your frequency dial. Most of us learn to breathe in a particular rhythm during times of stress, uncertainty, or survival. And we've been unconsciously tuning into that same station ever since. We wake up, take those familiar shallow breaths of morning anxiety, and without realizing it, we've just selected today's reality channel. The same one we listened to yesterday and the day before that. Here's what I've discovered in my own journey and what quantum physics is now confirming. There isn't just one reality unfolding around you. There are infinite parallel timelines, each one vibrating at a different frequency, each one containing a different version of your life. In one timeline, you're confident and abundant. In another, you're creative and free. In yet another, you're deeply loved and supported. These aren't fantasies or future possibilities. They're actual realities existing right now, just at frequencies your current breathing pattern can't access. But here's where it gets both fascinating and heartbreaking. Your nervous system, through your breathing rhythm, acts like a quantum antenna. Every inhale and exhale sends out a specific electromagnetic signature that tells the universe, this is the timeline I'm choosing to experience. When you breathe in that familiar pattern of worry, your body is essentially saying, give me more of the reality where I need to worry. When you hold your breath in anticipation of disappointment, you're selecting the timeline where disappointment is likely. I remember when this first clicked for me. I was sitting in my car after another frustrating day, taking those same tight, anxious breaths I'd been taking for years, when I suddenly realized I wasn't breathing like someone whose life was about to change. I was breathing like someone who expected more of the same, and the universe, being the perfect mirror it is, kept delivering exactly that. The timeline trap is so subtle because breathing is automatic. We don't think about it, we just do it. But every unconscious breath is a vote for the reality we've always known, even if it's not the reality we want. Your nervous system doesn't distinguish between a past trauma and a current situation. It just responds to the breathing pattern you've trained it to recognize as normal. This is why so many beautiful, intelligent, deserving people feel stuck despite trying everything. They're using their minds to reach for new realities while their breath keeps them anchored to old ones. They're trying to manifest from their thoughts while their nervous system is broadcasting a completely different message through their respiratory rhythm. But here's what's even more shocking. You've actually been doing manifestation backwards this entire time, and once you understand why, everything changes. What I'm about to show you will completely shatter everything you believe about how manifestation actually works, because it's not happening in your mind. For years, I believed what most of us have been taught, that manifestation was about getting my thoughts right, visualizing perfectly and affirming with enough conviction. I spent countless mornings in meditation, crafting vision boards, and your breath is the bridge between dimensions. Each inhale...
I'm trying to figure out how to breathe. Where's part 2 at? That was disturbing and fascinating at the same time. Interesting, just like the Volkswagen. Okay, that's a crazy correlation. We got a lot of crazy correlations popping up. North Star, okay. Interesting. Resembles a sunflower for a second. Electromagnetic fields, okay. The Vortex heart. Interesting. Heart being a vortex. This is some pretty deep stuff. Advanced disturbing TikToks. Video shows alien giving a man a hug.
What a wild discovery. This video just surfaced online showing a small gray extraterrestrial coming up to a man, and then later the man even gives the alien-like being a hug. Now, some say this was just a hoax made to get views, but others believe it's real, saying the creatures are actually androids or robots, supposedly working for a different species of alien who is not robotic. But whether it's real or fake, this footage at least gives us an idea of what these beings might look like. And if they're out there, would you want to meet one? Personally, I'd be a bit scared to meet an alien, especially if it came up and hugged me unexpectedly. I mean, we have no idea what their intentions are. But I have to admit, the idea of there being other life forms out there in the universe is kind of cool. Who knows what they could teach us? And besides, it's not like we're the only life in the universe. We're made from the same building blocks as the universe itself. So why should it? What a wild.
I would have did a spinning back kick so fast. And I love how everyone at the end is just minding their business while this dude is casually hugging the alien gray. Come on. That's absolutely crazy.
In Hungary, a witness captured a strange object in the sky. A flat, triangle-shaped craft silently hovering above a residential area near the mountain. At first it stayed still, then began moving back and forth over the same stretch of sky with eerie precision. No known aircraft can make those sharp, repetitive movements without stalling or losing control. Then, without warning, it tilted slightly and shot upward at incredible speed, vanishing into the sky in seconds. No sound, no trail, just gone. The shape, the movement, the silence, everything about it defies conventional flight. What was it really? In Hungary.
I almost want to say it's a TR-3B from how the movement they were describing, but it doesn't look like a triangle.
It's real life, real time. This is what I'm looking at right now. That's in the sky. Don't know what it is. Came out of nowhere, really. But this. It's real life, real time.
What on earth is this? Definitely not a UFO. Some type of orb projecting these different trails. Interesting.
What do you think the best way to hide something might be? Well, you just put it in plain sight, guys. That's all you do. You put it right in your face. The sad part about this is people will still see this and then still buy this. They don't care. Well, it doesn't matter. It's cheap. So trust me when I say this, when you switch to a whole food diet and you stop consuming this stuff, your life is going to get a lot better.
Whoa, 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 whoa. What the? Something just blew up. It literally did. I think it's falling. Holy legit it. That's it. That's it. I told you guys. Film this. Whoa. You hear it. Legit see it. Or is that a plane? No, love, that's the rocket. Tell me you got that thing blow up. Oh, it's gone now. No, it's gonna come up there. I can still see it. Look through the clouds. What? Look through the clouds, I see it. I can still see it. Look. Oh, yeah. Look at it. It's floating. It's legit, it's floating. What the Oh, fuck! I mean, why is it so weird? I don't know. exploding? Is that falling from the sky?
I don't know. Dude, what the f*** this?
Whoa.
What? What is that?
I don't know. It's really freaking creepy.
Dude, I don't like this.
I don't like it either. Is it legit
Oh.
falling from the sky? Oh my god, what is that?
Oh my god.
What is that? That's it?
Yes, well, I hope that's f***. If not, we're f***ed.
Whoa!
Oh my god. Something must have happened.
My god,
This
that
is-
is the coolest thing. Whoa! What is that? Literally, what is that? I'm so confused.
It's falling. Man, that's falling for sure.
Oh my god. Whoa! Oh my god, it's legit falling. What is that? Is it gonna catch fire?
I don't know.
Holy! What the heck? What?
Look at the colors over there.
Whoa!
Oh my god.
That's sick.
Skywatchers watch in disbelief as a SpaceX Starship breaks apart. Was that really a SpaceX spaceship falling apart? You be the judge. UFO sighting in Italy.
Vedi, mi fermo lì, da 11 minuti prima non c'è. Non so che cos'è. Arriva anche qui.
Interesting. It looked like some type of projectile was coming at it or deflected it or something. I keep seeing stuff about this intergalactic war that's happening right before our eyes. How crazy would that be? Caption says, does this sound like a solar flare to you? I don't know what a solar flare is supposed to sound like, but definitely not like a transformer. Or a Decepticon.
So I'm almost 100% convinced that this guy found a Wendigo den while out biking. I'm not sure of the original poster's name, but this is the account I found it on. He walks up to this cave, finds a bunch of animal bones, and then this happens.
Bro, is that my fork? What? Hello? Help.
He also found something of his that was slightly drug into the cave. Like whatever this thing is luring him in there. The guy backs up in disbelief because what? And then
Help.
He clearly panics, starts to run away, but then he turns around because his bike is parked over there and he thinks, well, maybe I'm just tripping. So he goes back.
I don't know, dude. Am I just hearing things?
And then the thing starts talking and you can't understand what it's saying. And for some reason, he's still hanging out around there. Then he decides to throw one of the many animal skulls laying around this cave into the cave.
What the
I'm fully convinced that this is a Wendigo. What do you think? So
I throw a piece of rope in there and then take off. But I never really known Wendigos to trap people. Is that what they do? Talk about a setup.
Check out the secret symbolism on this Fanta label when it's folded and put into the light. Fanta is made by Coca-Cola, by the way, if you didn't know this already, but let's have a look at this. What do we see here? What is that? What is that? Now, do you think that this is just a coincidence, or do you think that they purposely put symbolism like this on these labels on our money, etc., on everything, subliminally. Yeah. How about we stop drinking this stuff, this garbage, this poison? Yeah.
What is it? It kind of resembles the Wendy fast food Wendy's girl with the ponytails, but I don't know. Octopus vibes. That is absolutely crazy. Wex 1. I wonder what that means.
Some close-ups and clear trail camera captures of the so-called Dogman. However, these remain somewhat anonymous, with little to no background information at all. All we know is a hunter set up a trail camera deep in the woods in the winter. He set the camera up to capture wildlife and aid him in his hunts, which is what these cameras are usually used for. But instead of capturing normal wildlife, one day, while he was looking back through his captures, this was seen. The motion and heat-activated camera captured what looks to be a Dogman-like creature. The creature has dark black and gray fur with pointed ears and pointed canine-like teeth. The photos are extremely clear. People always complain that the pictures are always blurry. If this is real, this is as clear and visible as you get. Everyone can see it. We can see every single detail. This must have been a quality, high-resolution trail camera. These were highlighted in mid-January of 2025. It is believed that they were released in 2024. The first shot gives us a clear look at its face and upper body from the front. The second photo shows it from behind. If you don't already know, a Dogman is typically described as a bipedal creature with the body of a muscular man and the head of a wolf or large dog. Unlike Bigfoot, which often carries a mysterious or peaceful air, the Dogman is often associated with aggression, intimidation, and predatory behavior. And if these trail camera pictures are indeed real, they're some of the closest and clearest evidence of the Dogman to date. Let us know what you think in the comments.
Severus Black, is that you?
Maybe there really are werewolves in Appalachia. I know how it sounds, werewolves, vampires, it's all things we see on TV and in the movies. But what if it wasn't as far-fetched as we may think? People now refer to what we might call werewolves as Dogman. In the picture I'm getting ready to show you, many people believe this is one of those Dogmans or a werewolf. I'm not saying this picture alone is enough to convince me, but you combine this with other pictures and first-hand encounters hiking through the Smoky Mountains, the Appalachian Mountains. They describe a creature just like this. Is it something supernatural, something demonic, or is it something that was created by man in a laboratory that escaped? Truth is, we don't know. If you look at this thing, maybe it's fake, I don't know. But one thing I did notice, it does cast a shadow, which I know AI can do. If you look at its paws or hands, they almost have a human-like or a primate-type look. Even the face, to me, gives off human vibes. I'm not sure what it is. Tell me in the comments what you think. Are werewolves or Dogmen real or not?
It does kind of have like a human resembling face. Almost like a mustache almost.
Have you seen the viral video of a guy walking the beach during the middle of the day? And he said he saw something. People in the comments were saying it was a siren. But yeah, check this out. Look at that right there. What is that? And how did it get there? I went ahead and freeze framed it and blew it up, and as you can see, it looks real. But what is that? Now, I'm not 100% sure if this is real, but if it is, what do you think that is?
I think that was probably taken straight out of the Hollywood studios, but who knows? I'm sure it'll be a bigger crowd around it if it was.
Bigfoot story. This is in Monroe County in Michigan this year, 2025. A father and his son, they're fishing in the woods. They start hearing some sound, hear the brush rattle, and then they just hear a thump. They say they literally see like a shadow fall over 10 feet out of the tree. Then they see it ascending the hill. This all takes place in about 10 seconds. This is funny, but they describe what they saw as a hairy humanoid ape-like thing. And they said with a huge buttocks, and it disappeared. But I've never heard of like Bigfoot stories out of Michigan. And so I started looking into, there's a national forest where this happens, a Native American forest. Maybe I'll pop it up on the screen. But I looked up the Native American tribe that used to operate in that area. They have this oral oral tradition of the 7 grandfathers. At some point in the history, there is a child on a spirit quest. He's trying to find his manhood. So he has this encounter and encounters 7 grandfathers is how the language is used, who are represented by 7 animals. And so there's a bison, a turtle, an eagle, a bear, a wolf, a beaver, and then a Bigfoot they call the Kichisabe. But the story goes, it represents standing tall and like honesty in their oral tradition. The word Sabe translates in their, I think it's Ojibwe is how you say the name of their people, but it translates to giant. In some traditions I was able to read, they're closer to the creator, a giant that goes between realms. But
so their Bigfoot, it's
a spirit walker.
That's so cool.
It mentioned shifting Bigfoot. The crazy part, that's not the first time I heard about that.
This isn't Troy, this is Judah. I'm telling y'all guys, like New York State is Judah. Look, get the date right here that got edited. See how it says 1931 and the ones don't match? They're not even the same font and they're super, super separated. They're not even part of the original. That's 93 AD, the date right here. They added over 1,000 years to the structure. It's ancient Judah temple. I can show you right here the Roman on this one. This place got conquered by the Romans in 70 AD. This is why you have all these, look. On the next building, it got carved in here, right? You see how it says courthouse like that? The Romans put that there when they conquered this place. These buildings were already here. That building's Solomon's, all right? The United States is the Holy Land. The Romans came here and conquered this place in 70 AD. That's why you have all this Roman writing on these buildings with these cover-ups. That's Roman. And right here again, look. This is the Grand Master of New York State at the time, Stephen Van Rensselaer. Okay, this dude's a Grand Master. This isn't Troy, this is Judah.
Bro is a grandmaster. It is crazy how these ones don't add up though. He's saying this is 98 AD. How extraordinary.
And I want to thank the guys that are not my friends anymore. I'm glad that you blew your cover for me to recognize that you wasn't any good to my family or me. And I appreciate y'all for that. So if I make any more new friends, I know the signs. Thank you.
People expose yourself. Fake friends, they definitely expose themselves. And like he said, if we do make new friends, hey, we know the signs.
Scientists have developed the world's first wireless mind control system.
Control mice with the flick of a switch. The mice were engineered with nanoparticle activated switches in their brains and then turning on a magnetic field. They're calling the tech magnetogenic interface for neurodynamics, or nanomind for short.
So what they use is called a viral vector. A viral vector is a virus, adreno-associated viruses. They change the RNA and DNA. That's how they program viruses. Once they get in, they can replicate. They inject this virus. The virus is used to deliver this genetic code, and then it mutates inside your brain. They're called ion channels. And then these ion channels, they stick to these magnetic nanoparticles. And then whenever there's a magnetic field, it kind of pulls a torque on those nanoparticles. And then the brain interprets that torque as activation for neurons. And then if they have multiple nanoparticles in other areas, and then they allow these magnetic fields to activate in certain sequences, certain neuron paths will open in certain patterns. Auditory or visual, your frontal lobe, which then will cause you to do certain activity or feel certain things. And it's done wirelessly. Imagine if all these drones sending electromagnetic pulses through your phone, through your smart glasses, and then they can have an EEG device in there to read the waves, verify that things are being changed, and then sending new pulses to activate more actions.
Never seen something like this.
The video submitted by one of their followers shows a stormy day somewhere in Florida.
What is this?
Initially, the camera operator thought the objects might just be birds, but upon closer inspection realized they were metallic looking and highly reflective.
There's like tens of thousands of these reflective objects in the air. I thought they were birds at first, but looking closer, it's literally just these reflective objects. Never seen.
Could that be drones?
Extraterrestrial, alien, or dimensional being caught on home security camera.
Whatever it was, a dog was barking right at it.
In 2023, in Mexico City, archaeologists discovered an Aztec stone chest dating back to the 14th century. It contained 15 mysterious anthropomorphic figurines made of green stone. One of the smallest figurines depicts a woman, measuring 1.2 in tall, while the others represent men, standing about 12 in tall.
Alright y'all, now this video has been floating around for a long time. I just wanted to do a recap on it. I mean, this video is amazing footage. I for one believe it. It doesn't look fake. It doesn't look doctored. Alright y'all, now this video has been...
That's either Bigfoot or Chewbacca enjoying a nice day in the forest. That's all we have for today's video. If you made it this far, the code word is... What's today? Super Tuesday banger. Go ahead and hit your boy with the Super Tuesday banger, man. But yeah, I just want to thank you guys for tuning in. And this was mysterious and disturbing videos that might just change your reality, keep you up all night, and make you question everything. I'm Jet Ski Chuck. Till next time.